Hello, everyone, and welcome back to 4pixels. Coco and Kimi are here with our guests, Buttons and Layflay. We are continuing the letter.
Yes, we are.
Seconds later, the moment is broken by the sound of a door easing open and a voice begging some little peace.
How many times
Hey,
have
can
I
y'all shut
told
up
you
out there?
girls not to loiter around the hallway? It's noisy. Some people here are trying to sleep.
What was that, Layflay?
I was just doing the voice of the person talking, like, hey, can y'all shut up out there? Sometimes some people are trying to get some sleep. And that's more or less what the landlady said.
Yep. So now you're the landlady.
Oh,
Excellent.
jeez. Hooking me up with an apartment.
Yeah, right? Shit.
Shit, if I were a landlady, I'd have my own apartment for once. God damn.
Quiet down or go do your talking inside. I'm pinning a memo to your door the next time this happens. Millennials.
Wow. Also, I like that it happens enough times that she's like, this is a recurring thing.
She's calling them millennials. It only had to happen once.
Yeah.
Fair.
Sorry, we won't do it again.
You'd better.
The door closes and Isabella starts gathering the mess she's made, carefully stacking them all in her arm. At a loss for what to do, I help her pick them, and for the first time I get a closer look at it. Completely unintentional, of course,
Of course.
but it catches my attention nevertheless, and a confused frown makes its way to my face. Why is she looking through this? I look to her for an explanation, but she merely ignores the question in my eyes, takes the paper off my hands, and finishes cleaning up. The last paper she puts on top is a letter. The one she supposedly found in the mansion, and what's probably the root cause of this odd behavior. I shoot her a questioning look for that too. But all she gives me is a smile. And in a halting tone, so completely unlike her.
Becca, I'll find a way out of this. You guys don't have to worry about me. Anyways, I should go. I'll see you later.
Where are you going?
Getting myself some food. Don't wait for me.
Hold on.
What?
We got her food.
Isabella walks away before I can stop her, before I can remind her that I've brought food enough for the two of us. She quickly disappears down the stairwell, while I'm left standing in an empty hallway holding 2 bags of takeout. One of them will go uneaten tonight. Just an innocent passing thought. One that I don't dwell much on as I head back to my room. I ignore all of it in the same way I've assumed I won't ever encounter that douche again. Alright, it's the 27th.
We jumped 2 days ahead.
Okay.
Alright, Tuesday, October 25th. Rebecca found Isabella going through several papers outside their apartment. When the former asked why she didn't come home the other night, the latter confessed that she saw the ghost once again. Before leaving, Isabella assured her friend that she'd find a way out of this mess.
Alright, and let's see what's happened today. This was when Zachary developed the photos and showed them to Ashton and then to Professor Clark. Oh, that's all. The brief low the past 2 days has offered is nice while it lasted. Or as nice as it can get with worries of Isabella's whereabouts creeping up to me every now and then. She hasn't showed up after the last talk we had in the hallway, and the dinner I've bought had since been given to a different neighbor before it spoils. By all means, it shouldn't be anything to lose sleep over. She's gone on work trips before, usually for a day or two. This might simply be one of those. Although, it's often with a message saying exactly where. But it's the dour note she has ended our last chat with that gnaws.
Like an ugly premonition.
And as expected, just as things are starting to settle and a steady rhythm finally worms its way back to my routine, Thursday morning brings further disturbance to the now calm waters. With little ceremony, though still enough to ripple through everything. In retrospect, I really should have seen this coming. Luxbourne is a small city, relatively speaking. Compared to, say, London or Glasgow, it's nothing but a tiny mass of land boasting a mere population of 68,000. But those numbers alone are nothing to scoff at when standing in a busy street. And if you pay close enough attention, faces taking the crosswalk or riding the subway will soon grow familiar. How unfortunate that out of that number, it has to be Theo fucking Luke I encounter more than once.
Oh, you know, a few problems popping up here and there that the agents failed to tell us somehow. Nothing a few hired hands can't fix, of course. I would have preferred a place near the city and something that's new to save us all the trouble, but darling wife insisted. Who am I to say no?
Ah, are you kidding me?
His smug head is the first thing I see upon turning into the hall, in spite of the small crowd of parents and students gathered at the corridor for the primary's career day. It's not that he stands out. He's pretty unremarkable at first glance, frankly. However, it's his countenance that draws people's eyes to him. The manner he carries himself with all the confidence in the world, his mere presence dwarfing everything around him. I'm willing to make a bet he's also enjoying the attention it garners him, especially the ones coming from the women.
What an ass.
A single glance at him, and I know immediately that one way or another, if we ever bump into each other again, my day will effectively be ruined in some capacity. He also exudes that air. The sort that makes you want to run him over with a lorry. Lorry?
Lori, yeah.
And
What's
pat
Lori?
a type of car, I assume?
I think it's a cab.
And pats it off as an unfortunate accident. With him, it's either you want to punch him or let yourself be charmed. There's no in between. I'll gladly do the honors of the former myself, but alas, there are people around us.
Damn it.
Now I'm stuck with having to face one of the two.
I shouldn't have volunteered.
At the time, helping out sounded a good idea. I've no classes left today until after lunch. Could have opted to stay at the teacher's lounge and work on my lesson plans, but that means being left alone with our deputy head and his chatter. He's a good man, but crivens, can he talk anyone's ears off? So the moment an opportunity rose, I jumped on it. It's a simple task to boot. Just deliver a whole box of materials and a few posters for the event. Maybe stay around to assist if time will allow it. I just wasn't expecting him to show up here. Out of the frying pan and into the fire. Had I known, I would have stayed and suffered through our deputy's impromptu speeches about his life crisis instead. But what's done is done. Going back is also out of the question. With how unexpectedly heavy the load I'm carrying is, I'd hate to lug this for a trip back just because my pride can't take another second of interaction with the guy. He's insufferable, all right, but I've had my fair share of dealings with teens of, more or less, the same temperament, all considerably younger than him, and they listened. If he wants to be difficult like last time, so be it. but he can bet his sorry English ass I'm not standing down. Left with no other choice, I brace myself and suck in a breath, mustering every bit of patience I have as I step into the hall. My grip on the box tightens when I pull it closer to me, and attempt to assume a low-key air as I amble towards the room. The box is not big enough to hide my face, even with the stuff piled on top, but if all else fails, I can just hit him with it. Still, a small prayer forms in my head. If there's even one listening out there, please grant me enough restraint. Better yet, I hope he doesn't notice me at all. That'll definitely make my life easier. Seriously, how hard can it be? He's standing a few ways from the door, and there are plenty of people between us to use for cover. If I'm careful, I can just go in, hand in the stupid box to whoever's in charge, forget every plan of staying longer than necessary, and step out as soon as I can. Easy as pie.
Mm-hmm.
But as luck would have it, the exact moment I reach the door's threshold, someone barrels towards me. She latches onto my waist before topping the sudden commotion with a gleeful squeal.
I knew it's you!
The force of it nearly throws me off balance, sending the items stacked atop the box tilting dangerously to the sides. With the child's added weight at my waist, pinning me on the spot, and both of my hands occupied, watching is the only thing I'm able to do. The short seconds in between slows as everything gradually slides off the box's small surface. Under different circumstances, this would have made for a funny story some other time. Comical, even. Until another set of hands reaches out and steadies the poster, threatening to take a nosedive right to the floor. My entire body freezes. Upon hearing his voice alone, an irrational impulse to hit him suddenly bubbles up.
No,
Do it.
Just chuck it all on him.
It's completely rational.
So, that line was not spoken, which reminds me of I very much doubt this is the case, but I thought it would have been interesting if it is, if maybe, because this is the only chapter in which the voices have had, like, problems, in which sometimes the lines aren't spoken, but it'd be interesting if that happened because Rebecca maybe needed a hearing aid and she wasn't facing the people when they spoke.
Oh, maybe.
That would be cool.
She wasn't what with people?
If she was using a hearing aid, and the reason that the lines weren't spoken was because she wasn't able to read their lips or wasn't able to otherwise, like her hearing aid was like malfunctioning at times. I doubt that's the case. I think this is just a bug. I meant to like maybe like look at some other LPs for those moments, but considering how much they can diverge, I was too afraid to do that.
Yeah.
But before my limbs could catch up with with what my brain is currently screaming at me, he moves to take the burden off my arms. Irritation gives way to surprise. Then confusion. It is in that moment when instinct finally kicks in, and I tug the box closer to me before he can fully lift it off.
What are you doing?
What does it look like? You're surprisingly slow on the uptake for someone of your profession, aren't you?
So even with that comment, I'm
Bloody,
going
doesn't
to...
this school have people for this kind of work? So much for being a center of academic excellence.
So, he also will respond differently to people that beat him at his own game.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think is why when, Rebecca legitimately apologizes to him, the meter goes so far up. Because she has won at his own game.
Ah.
I'm going to ignore that slight to my alma mater and my work because that's not what I'm trying to get at. You know what? Why don't we just rephrase that to something you'll easily understand? Why exactly are you doing this?
Well, you look like you could use a bit of help. Have you seen your face while you were heaving this around?
Mister, I'm pretty sure if there's ever a look on my face, it's entirely because I saw something extremely unpleasant this morning.
Rip him.
Aren't you a ball of sunshine today, Daisy? Having a bad day, aren't we?
Oh, you have no idea.
I'd put it away if I were you. You might scare the children.
You don't have to worry about that. This isn't my department. I was just asked to bring these. Anyway, I can handle this myself, mister. The room's just right over there. Behind you, in fact. Now, if you could please move over and make way, it would do the whole world some good.
Keeping my voice level throughout is a miracle in itself, but regardless of how polite my request is, he doesn't budge. Did what I've just said merely fly over his head? Were my choice of words really that difficult to comprehend? Surely it shouldn't be that hard.
Kill him.
Kill him. I think he might be a little touched in the head.
You did beam him with a book.
I'd like to
It'd
ask
be nice
him
if you
that,
did it again.
actually. Do it with the box. But Kylie chooses that instant to pipe in.
Don't worry, Miss Pink. Teo's strong. You can leave
God
it to
damn
him.
it. Kid,
My
please.
papa does it lots of times, but I'm not allowed to talk about it to anyone. Teo says it's
Confidential, Munchkin.
That's right. Teo's smart, isn't he, Miss Pink?
I'm still of the opinion that he's a piece of shite, but I must admit his goddaughter's excitement is contagious, as always. A smile makes its way to my lips. She has yet to budge from her place, though to be honest, I'm starting to lose some feeling on my stomach with how tightly she's wound her arms around it.
I'm sure he is, Kylie. But I'm also sure he'll find better use for it elsewhere.
Like helping you out.
Oh, well, that's one thing, but
You heard the kid.
no one's asking you.
You wound me, woman.
And I'm quite certain I can do more damage than that. Shall we give it a try? Again?
He pales, stammers for a bit until he ultimately decides against saying anything and settles for a brief show of discomfort instead. He's probably having flashbacks of the last time we met. His composure, when he finally regains some of his bearings, says it all. It's nothing short of hilarious if I do say so myself.
I'll have you know that threats never work on me, Daisy.
Pause real quick.
Not in a million years, not ever.
How much do we want to bet that when we go through this with Luke's, the ghost lady standing behind her?
Huh.
Ooh.
Why?
Because this is not the first time that a woman has stood up to Luke. This is the first time that he's reacted that way.
But it is the first time someone has kicked him in the balls.
It's not the first time he
Cool.
deserved it, though.
You're assuming it's a threat. How cute.
That too. I'm not scared of you. Just because you landed a hit.
Do go on. Keep telling yourself that.
It was a fluke, you hear? I was
Luke
caught
the
off
fluke.
guard and your damn book left a dent. If I end up in a hospital because of what you did, I'm sending the chief of Luxburg Police after you, woman.
You don't say.
Just give me that bloody box.
He snatches it out of my arms before a single word of protest exits my mouth and quickly disappears behind the classroom. Not that it matters who brings it in now. My prior irritation has already melted into amusement. He's not so bad once you figure out how his temperament works. It's almost similar to a child. Though I still have to ask.
Kylie, did your Tio eat something bad before coming here? He's unusually nice today.
A far-fetched idea, I know, but it's the only reason I can think of why this arsehole is suddenly acting like a decent human. He's, quite frankly, far from being. First and foremost, he didn't end our last meeting on a good note. If I were him, I'd avoid the very person who put a dent on his skull, as he so aptly put it. Why is he acting friendly 2 days later?
He always is. But I made him promise to be extra nice to you since you helped me so much. I think you're gonna be great friends.
Oh my god, Kylie.
Kylie's into hate ships.
Into it.
I quickly stomp on the urge to groan loudly or gag at that. He's the last person I'd ever want to be chummy with in this whole city, but Kylie doesn't need to know that.
Are you sure it's not something he ate during breakfast?
I gave him some jelly babies this morning. Really brought me lots of them. Mama said I should share, so I offered half of it to Tio when he picked me up. He likes the black ones.
Oh, that's probably why he's weird. Jelly baby overdose.
He could have done everyone a favor and choked on them while he's at it.
Do you want some? I've got more. I couldn't find Melody or Takako this morning, but I'm sure they'll be fine sharing some of it with you.
No, I'm not really very fond of them. I was just asking. Oh, where's your mum, by the way?
Out of town with Papa.
An unexpected pang hits me at her words. The statement, though innocent enough, unearths a whole trunk of memories from childhood. So eerily familiar. Nights spent eating dinners alone, the number of days coming home to an empty house growing with each passing year. And sometimes several Christmas Eves spent with relatives instead of my own family. It's too late to think about it now, but when I remember, the dull wake is still there, familiar, though lessened by the years now. Beside me, Kylie takes a step back, having gotten tired of clinging to me. There's nothing but cheer in her. She doesn't seem too affected by the fact. Although it makes me wonder how much of it is real, and how much is there to mask the loneliness, if there's even one. What a lucky child.
Weren't they informed of career day beforehand?
Yeah, I told them all about it. Mama was looking forward to it.
And they still left?
Uh-huh. It's important business, so it can't be helped. They promised to tell me about it when they come back tomorrow, though. Papa said he'll give me a gift if I behave. I've been a good girl, right, Miss Pink?
You always are. But they asked they asked your Tio to look after you? For this?
Nope, they didn't.
No? Then how?
It was supposed to be Tia. Mama likes her better than Tio, so she asked her, but she's sick and had to visit the doctor today.
Oh? Oh?
Well, godparents don't necessarily have to be married, so maybe Lithia is someone other than Hannah?
No, because or let's put it this way, I doubt that because it is known that Rochelle likes Hannah more than Luke.
And Hannah also mentioned Kylie, doesn't she?
Yeah, and Hannah, from what I remember, likes Rochelle more than Lee. Even though they hardly ever interact.
Yeah. Is this before the fit in the basement then?
I don't know.
What fit in the basement?
When she collapsed screaming from the doorway to the wine cellar.
Yeah, because that's after the housewarming party.
That's right.
Hmm.
Sorry, I had a yawn there.
It's okay.
Close the mic.
Oh, that's supposed to be a secret, by the way. Oh, but I think it's a bit confusing because Tio said she also went shopping. That's unfair. Don't you think so, Miss Pink? Mama doesn't allow me to go out when I'm sick. It's still okay, though, since Tio always buys me sweets before we go home. I'm gonna ask for a parfait today. Extra large. Don't doubt the Kako, okay?
Child, you are going to be obese if you keep eating like that.
Listening to her like this, it's easy to get a picture of where Kylie's fondness for the guy comes from. She's far from a demanding child unless you've made a promise of some sort. She never forgets those. She makes friends with anyone, wherever she is.
Even with ghosts, apparently.
Buy her a few things and voila, you're settled. No wonder she's so attached to the man. The douche probably showers her with gifts whenever he can. I can't say if the sentiment's the same for the latter, however. He doesn't seem the type, and probably just does it for the sake of getting some peace and quiet whenever he's with the girl. Classic techniques.
But before that, I'm gonna show him to everyone first. It's gonna be great. No one else has a gazillionaire fairy godfather. Also, when I grow up, I'm gonna be exactly like him and marry someone really handsome. Like Tia did. That way, I can be awesome too.
So, I'm confused, because where was it said that she was Lee and Rochelle's daughter?
I thought Lee and Rochelle said that their daughter was Kylie.
Okay. I'm not remembering.
I just remember she's related to...
There's a high chance I'm wrong. Just gonna put that one out there.
I just remember she's related to Luke and Hannah.
Yeah, as their goddaughter. There's some sort of misguided logic in there that I'd like to correct. But before I can say my piece, douchebag steps in, fresh out of the commotion from the classroom behind us, and plows into the conversation with every subtlety a wrecking ball has.
She's not the daughter of Rochelle and Lee.
Oh, okay.
She's not? Okay.
She has no relation to them. She's just the daughter of a businessman and the goddaughter of Luke and Hannah.
Okay.
Alright, then I was totally wrong, my B.
No shite giving, despite no one asking for his opinion.
Munchkin, sweetie, trust me. You don't have to marry someone for that to happen.
I don't?
Just do your thing, darling. I'm quite sure you can do great things on your own without lugging around an extra baggage with you.
Tia married you.
Burn. Fucking good.
Wow.
Great.
Damn it, Kylie.
Kylie drops the statement without any sort of preface, and the moment it lands, the douche finds himself grappling with the conversation.
Yeah, well, that's true, Munchkin, technically. But it's not the same thing.
A small frown creases the girl's eyebrow as she tries to comprehend her Theo's rather vague explanation. It's not surprising either when Luke tenses under the child's questioning gaze. It's familiar. I've seen the same look a great deal of times before on Ashton whenever he's trying to say something he can't quite phrase. Another second passes before the douche moves, kneeling in front of Kylie and placing both his hands on either sides of her shoulder. Kind is the last word I'll ever use to describe the man, but in this minute there's a smile on his face I can't place, tender by all means for someone as obnoxious as him. It's a curious thing to see, if not a bit odd.
Listen here, sweetie. Tia was already a great person before she met me.
She is? But I don't see her doing anything. She's always at home.
Not always, Munchkin. Did you know she's really good at numbers?
You're good with them too. You helped me with my homework once.
Well, Tia's much, much better than me. She used to do maths with big numbers.
Oh, like millions?
No. Gazillions. And she's really, really good at it. So much so that her dad let her manage anything that had to do with it. That was even before she met me, too.
Does that mean she's better than you?
Oh, leagues, Munchkin. Way, way better than I'll ever be.
Oh no.
Oh.
Buttons panicked. Oh no!
Oh no!
Oh no, I'm feeling.
It starts.
It starts.
Oh,
Starting. I knew it.
For some reason, I don't think he's still talking about his wife's mathematical prowess as his voice trails off. In fact, if I had not been paying closer attention, I wouldn't have noticed the change in him. The slight shift in his smile, from one that's tender to something wistful, like remembering a memory he has always been fond of, but has often kept to himself. And at the fleeting glance of it, a tiny insignificant part of the world somehow shifts. And with that, we will end this episode right here. Thank you guys for joining us, and see you next time.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Feel it, Buttons.
shut up.
Go inside.
You guys want to know what's the funniest thing about this? Since I didn't record that previous conversation, no one's gonna have any idea why we're talking about nipples so much. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Coco here, and I am once again joined by Stan, Shadow, and Moon, and we're continuing the first game, Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney.
Hopefully we can actually get through this case today.
The judge has just been sitting here staring at us in silence the whole time.
Sighing over and over.
He's just
Very
waiting.
disappointed in us.
He's not mad, he's disappointed.
Disappointing.
Oh, that's the worst kind, though.
You seem much more relaxed, Mr. Wright. Good for you.
Does
for
Phoenix
you.
actually know where he is? That's the question. Does he know where?
No, he doesn't.
Because I mean, you're asking them who got killed and who you're defending. Like, the real questions here are: do you know your own name and what time it is?
And how can you sweat so much?